Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wealth Frequency. Today, I have a really special guest, Lisa A. Romano. She is a world-renowned expert in the field of childhood trauma, codependency, narcissistic abuse, and emotional neglect recovery, and known for her groundbreaking work in bridging neuroscience and spiritual wisdom. Lisa has helped hundreds of thousands of men and women break free from the invisible chains of their past. Her work teaches that trauma is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a profound transformation. And when one learns to understand the brain as a predictive coding machine that can be rewired through conscious awareness, metacognition, and deliberate practice. She's also a best-selling author, YouTube creator with over 83 million views, and founder of the Conscious Healing Academy. And Lisa is celebrated for making complex neuroscience accessible to survivors who long to reclaim their worth, restore their nervous system, and manifest healthier relationships and lives. And her signature programs, the 12-week Breakthrough Method, the Neuromanifestation Masterclass, and Soul School, form an integrated roadmap for reprogramming subconscious codes and ascending into higher states of love consciousness. And Lisa's mission is clear. She wants to teach survivors that they are not their programming by healing the brain, body, and mind from the inside out so they can fully step into the power of conscious creation. And today we are talking about the neuroscience of wanting more wealth. So, Lisa, I'm so happy to welcome you.
I am so thankful for the opportunity to speak to you and your audience.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. So, let's just dive straight in.
Mhm.
I know that so many people in the audience will be thinking they want more wealth. They've done the affirmations, they've done the manifestation processes, they've done so many different things, but just there's something that's not clicking for them. So, could this be neuroscience?
I believe so. We know that we are more subconsciously motivated than consciously motivated. And that's why talk therapy has limitations and affirmations that are just repeated without emotion, without visualization, without repetition, without really understanding the backdrop of the subconscious mind, oftentimes don't work. And it's very frustrating for people who are really trying, really, really trying. And this is why it's not connecting. They're not understanding the subconscious piece to all of this, that you have a money code, you have a money ceiling, you have unconscious beliefs around money that may be blocking your ability. And actually, you could want more, and that could trigger trauma because wanting more is outside of what you consider safe and familiar. Your brain has been designed for energy efficiency, and it operates based on your patterns and programs from the past. And so, if part of your history was you have to really grind and work hard to attract money, that is the opposite of an abundance frequency. So the minute you want more, your mind defaults to, but I have to work so hard. And now you're giving off the frequency that is in opposition to allowing and receiving because you have to work so hard. It's subconscious. And that's oftentimes the missing piece of this puzzle.
Hmm. And I know that when it comes to just receiving, just being able to receive, from the universe or just even from the fruits of your labor, you might be someone that's just, like you say, putting in so much hard work or not even wanting to embark on something because it feels so big. How do we start stepping out from the identity or the place where, we're operating in this way and start creating new pathways? And of course, you can work with you and many other great people, but what can people start doing?
I think that I like to make really complex ideas very simple and digestible and relatable. And so I offer you a metaphor. Can you step out of a building you don't know you're in? No,
No, no.
no, you don't even know that you're in it. And so metacognition, I would say, is the first step, is thinking about the way that you think, or at least knock, knock, knocking on the door to activate the mind's ability to question what it thinks. We have that ability, but most of us are so reactive and lack self awareness around this factual neuroscience backed research. We are more subconscious than conscious. So I think the first step to attracting and allowing money in, or attracting anything or changing anything, is surrendering to where we are. But without the awareness to where I am, there is no surrender. So I think the first step before learning to allow is identifying what is blocking me. Okay, well, beliefs block you, but they're subconscious. Right. And so from the mental mind, from the linear mind, you're not going to find these answers. But if you step out of the mind and you observe the mind, and you activate metacognition through mindfulness, you stop worrying about getting. Stop worrying about getting. Manifestation is about being. Manifestation is about attunement. It's not about getting. So when we start to like sit and contemplate and think about the way that we think, what is my energy towards money? Is it getting? Well, that implies I don't have. Is it wanting? Well, that implies I don't have. I want more money. The universe says, yes, you do. Yes, you want more money. It does not say, here is the money. And so I think the first step is recognizing that there's something deeper going on, most likely. Get your focus off of the money, go deeper and try to figure out what is your frequency or your beliefs around money. Start there. And that's the work that I do. I bring everybody right to their trauma. We're going to talk about what your mother repeated as a single mom to you. I don't have enough. I can't afford that. What are you asking me for? Why did you take the quarter off the stove? You're selfish. You know, we needed that. What do you think? Money grows on trees? How dare you? All of these money imprints that become part of our money code at the subconscious level that we can oftentimes feel ashamed for even wanting more. Well, shame blocks your ability to receive and become attuned with abundance. So the first step is self-awareness and getting clear about what might be blocking you at the level of the subconscious.
Yes, definitely. And I also feel like as a collective, you know, so like we can sometimes feel confused about role models when it comes to wealth because we either have these really wealthy people or people talking about how, and then we've got our family systems or people around us. Maybe some of our family are wealthy, maybe they're not. And it's like, how do we start tapping into our authentic needs around wealth? And I love that you talk about attunement, like an attunement to frequency, because often we can get caught on a number or I need this much in the bank account.
It's all an attachment. It's all attachment. And so I think one of the things that also confuses our ability to attune to wealth is that we believe that money is something that exists outside of us. Like love. I'm not love. I have to get love. I'm not abundant. I have to get abundance. It's something that's been externalized.
Mhm.
And I believe that's a cognitive distortion that creates great subconscious conflict. It's something that I have to achieve. And okay, then I also externalize my concept of success and I rely on social media. I rely on what my mother says. I rely on what my culture defines as success. Still, it's externalized. And if it's externalized, it means I don't identify with it because it's something external. So we have to start looking at money as frequency and honoring it as something that can be molded from the inside out. So one of the things that helped me shift when I realized I had these issues as a single mother after my divorce, I was terrified of money. And I had to identify what are my frequencies and emotions? What happens in my body when I start thinking about money? Insecurity, fear, vulnerability, trepidation, powerlessness. Because in my head, I didn't have it. It was something that I need to really work really hard for to achieve. And I understood enough. I wasn't yet healed, but I knew enough that the quantum universe, the quantum field of matter is just a reflection of vibration. Slowed down enough in the Earth's atmosphere to where I can sense it in physical form. That made sense to me. Einstein, the observer effect, made sense to me. So I knew that I had to shift myself vibrationally. So I gave myself permission to release and surrender to any current beliefs about money that my father infused me with, the shame that they infused me with for wanting. How dare you want the last potato? How dare you want? So I gave myself permission to suspend that. And instead, through the power of metacognition and mindfulness, I decided to see abundance everywhere. I saw abundance in the sky. I saw abundance of grass. I saw abundance of people. I saw abundance everywhere I looked. I forced myself to notice abundance. And that shifted me into gratitude. When you have abundance, you are grateful. So I just kept going. Well, what if I lost a foot? Well, at least I have another foot. What if you lost that foot? At least I have a hand. What if you lost that hand? Well, at least I have another hand. But what if you lost your eyesight? At least I can feel, I can still speak. I just kept going and going and going and challenging this ego construct that was so tied to fear and the sense of loss and not having. And that really helped me understand that it was my nervous system that was associating want with trauma. Wanting was not safe for me. When I wanted as a child, I was called lazy. I was called selfish when I wanted. And in order to call something in, you have to have a desire. But the trick is to live in the end time of that desire and to celebrate before it arrives and to maintain that frequency. And that requires a detachment, an egoic detachment from all of these beliefs that you've picked up along the way. Consider them your family's fleas, society's fleas, social media conditioning, someone else's idea of success. You have to redefine it. My definition of success is very different than my father's definition of success. Get money, hoard it, never share it. Never spend money. That was my father's definition of success, and that just didn't make sense to me. So I had to shift all these ideas and become the frequency of abundance and appreciation, knowing that if I could do that long enough, the quantum field had to mirror this new vibration. And these are the ideas we really, really, really have to know the self. Self-gnosis is everything. Excavate the self. Challenge your beliefs. Pull yourself back. Do not be defined by someone else's idea of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes because we've been programmed,
That's right.
through our school system or family or whatever, sometimes we also can feel like if we're grateful and if we surrender and if we do all of those practices, what if we never grow? Or what if we, because when we were children, I mean, at least I definitely have memories of when I was like relaxing and just allowing, and it was like, come on, you need to get into gear, like do your homework, do this, go to your classes. Like, so that like can also come up when we start to surrender and relax.
You're talking about your nervous system again, that it is uncomfortable for you to surrender and allow. It's uncomfortable, right? That's a construct. It's, I'm doing something wrong if I surrender and allow, and I just enjoy. And I just appreciate the fact that I have one pair of shoes instead of thinking I need 25 or 50 or 100 pairs of shoes. If I surrender and allow gratitude for the cornmeal that I have in the kitchen cupboard, I'm giving up. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not working hard enough. It's actually a trigger to your nervous system, because survival for you or anyone like you, including myself, is you better keep moving. Right. So now when I sit down to relax, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So, but that tension and that doing is in opposition to allowing. So when you're think about the times in your life where money came to you and you weren't asking for it. We've all had this experience where we're taken out to dinner. We didn't ask for it. We get a coupon in the mail, or we win a prize, or someone's gracious towards us or invites us on a trip that we didn't ask to pay for. We don't have to pay for. Kind of like just slipped right in, because you were in a state of allowing and not in resistance or constriction. You weren't trying to make it happen. You weren't externally focused. So your nervous system wasn't triggered. So it was allowed to come in. But oftentimes with entrepreneurs, very hardworking people, when we want more wealth, just wanting the more triggers our nervous system. And then the cognitive dissonance that creates, where I want more, but now I feel stress. Backwards rationalization comes on. This is the neuroscience piece. Backwards rationalization comes on and says, oh, you know what? It's not necessary that you get to that level of wealth. There's so many more responsibilities that come with it. People are going to call you selfish. Your family's going to think, well, who do you think you are? Or your family's going to have a handout waiting for you to take care of them. It's better off you don't achieve. Boom. You become a block for the manifestation that you've desired. So managing your nervous system when you start to desire something that's outside the familiar for you, managing how your body responds, requires stillness, compassion, mindfulness, determination, grit, and resilience, because you will feel uncomfortable as you start to bring up these awarenesses. Your nervous system will say, don't think about those things. Just get back into the predictive machine. We really have to, I think, and I really believe that, well, I believe that the mental health industry isn't going to be able to keep a cork in it for far too long because of the internet. We're becoming far more educated because of the internet, where we're understanding that childhood programming creates a predictive model within the brain that we, as poor, traumatized children, don't even know is running our ship. And we don't know the brain can only play with the tools that are in the shed. And we're so frustrated and so frustrated. And we think we're doing something wrong. We're not doing anything wrong. Our brain is actually working the way it was designed to work, which is to keep us safe and to be more focused on energy efficiency and your survival than your happiness and your personal ability to expand into abundance and attract and allow money to come to you. If it's outside the familiar, your brain is designed to knock it offline. Now, if you could grab hold of that and appreciate the power of meditation, because it'll slow down that process, and then you just don't go into oblivion or bliss. You use this new space to activate new neurological pathways. Now that the space has been cleared, you've cleared out the room of loud, boisterous children. Now you have this space in your mind Now, from outside the mind, you begin to regulate your nervous system with new belief systems, and you expand your ability to accept that you want more, and that's good, and that's safe, and that's your birthright. So you move, now that you've cleared the space with meditation, you call in the desire and manage your nervous system until you force your nervous system like a dog to sit and listen. The mind has to be managed like an animal that you're trying to domesticate. And if you really get that, you understand the power of higher consciousness. When it's completely focused on a specific result. But, most people associate grinding with more money, or they don't even realize what they associate, what emotions get activated in their body when they think about money or wanting more or asking for a raise or starting a new business. Oh no, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't understand social media. Where is the desire for the message you want to bring to the world? Because that's where all the juice is. Where is the fine tuning of the person that you serve? Why do you want to serve that person? Because that's abundance. That's generous. That's desire. And if you could just stay there, the rest will fill in.
Yeah, that's so important. And I just want to quickly talk about your free gift before kind of handing it
Mm-hmm.
over to you for, a self-reflective exercise. So
Yeah.
you have a Loving the Self affirmations free gift. So could you tell us a little bit about that and also the best way to use affirmations as well?
Yeah. So it's a book, it's a free ebook. And I've learned in my own recovery journey that I simply didn't know what thoughts to think that were proper. I just didn't know them. My brain operated through self abandonment and associated safety with abandoning myself. It was unsafe for me to want more because as a child, I was always considered selfish. So I realized I was abandoning myself. I had negative self talk. I was miserable. I was codependent. I was attracting unhealthy relationships. I was physically dying, literally, because you can't cut yourself off from life force forever. Your body eventually succumbs to that. So my body was going where my thoughts were going. And that frightened me. And it also excited me at the same time. So I decided to write books that help people with new thoughts. And so my affirmation books are new thoughts. They're breaking the old codes that you didn't even know you had. So they're bringing the old code to the surface and we're bringing in the new code. So if you just read, I got to read, one affirmation today and journal about it, it's not going to work. You're in resistance. You're in the mental field. You have to open up your mind, find a sacred space, read the affirmation and allow it to activate feelings because feelings is what impregnates a subconscious mind. And there is no quantum change unless there's a quantum energetic change. So there has to be a physiological change in which your subconscious mind opens up, like the receptors on the membrane of a cell. A new feeling, a new aha opens up the subconscious mind, plants that seed, but you still have to tend that seed. So neurons that fire together wire together. So this isn't something you do once a day. Neuroplasticity demands repetition and consistency. So I write books, the affirmation books, for that purpose, to harness the power of metacognition and neuroplasticity. So this is a book that they would download, anyone who's interested. They would read an affirmation a day. They'd journal about it for a half hour. They'd ponder it and they'd do the same thing the next day and then the next day and then the next day and then the next day. And if
Amazing.
I promise you, because it's neurologically sound, if you don't give up, your internal field shifts and then the outer world has to shift. So it quantifies. It's like putting money into a savings account that has interest. You leave your money in there, or if you add a little bit of money every day, you're going to get compounded interest. The bank account is going to grow. It's just a matter of time. That's what this is, just at a neurological level.
100%. So we will put that link down below for all of you to get that amazing gift for free. And also Lisa's links as well, her YouTube, her website, Instagram, and Facebook. And Lisa, I'm going to just hand it over to you for the journaling prompts for about 10 minutes.
Sure. Sure. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to get more in touch with our body. And there is no easier way to do that than to place your hand on your heart. So if you want to place your hand on your heart, and we want to start slowing down our breath and becoming more mindful, understanding that thoughts in the mental field just run on loop. We want to ask ourselves, who is the observer observing these thoughts? Who is the seer observing the sensations in this body? Who is the seer? Who is the witness? And who is the observer? And what that does from a neurological or neuroscience-based perspective is it activates metacognition. Metacognition is prefrontal lobe and neocortex. That's why when you went to school, your teacher would say, do you have your thinking cap on? Your thinking cap is your neural net. And because this session is about money and trauma, we want to start thinking about our associations to trauma. And so what I'd like you to do is ask yourself how you feel. What are the body's sensations when you start thinking about money? When I say, I love money, how do you feel? Does your body constrict? Does your body expand? Does it feel allowing? Just jot down and journal about 5 adjectives or 5 emotions or 5 sensations that you noticed. If you're like a lot of the people that I've coached, some of what comes up for them when I ask them to do this exercise is when I hear myself say, I love money, it feels fake. It feels scary. It can feel confusing. Like, what do you mean? Because so oftentimes trauma survivors don't feel worthy of money. And if you don't feel worthy of money or worthy of abundance, then you don't feel worthy of relaxation. You don't feel worthy of being generous. You don't feel worthy of receiving. And that is what blocks money from coming into your experience. So you want to start thinking about objectively now how your body responds when you think about money, and specifically when you say things like, I love money. Money loves me. I love abundance. Abundance loves me. Does it feel fake, or does it feel like, yeah, that's true? You know, I really feel comfortable with next level wealth. I really feel like it's all good. It's really important. The next thing that you want to do is you want to start writing down. The first is bodily sensation and just observing. The second is write down 5 beliefs associated to money. Now, when you're writing down these 5 beliefs, you can go very general. Like, think about, when I think about next level wealth, what are the beliefs, the automatic default brain survival patterns that have been downloaded in my subconscious mind associated with next level wealth? I have to work really hard. I'm going to have to really grind. I'm going to have to do overtime. This isn't going to be easy. I'm not even sure if it's worth it. These are just some beliefs. So just write down 5 immediate beliefs that come to mind when you think about next level wealth. I'd like to achieve next level wealth. What does that look like for you? Now, whatever number pops into your head, understand that's your ceiling. And I can attest to this because there was a time where I was working 3 jobs, and 7 days a week. And one of those jobs was cleaning houses. And I was grateful that I could cover my bills. And my mantra was, source, I just want to make enough money to cover my bills. And now I realize that the universe was just saying, okay, that's all you got. I paid all my bills. But the secret sauce for me was that I understood I had to be grateful because I was finding legal ways to make enough money to pay my bills. So even if you have a limited belief and you're operating from within a particular ceiling, which represents the past, because we all have this idea or the ceiling of how much money we think we can make. For some of us, it could be $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, 20, 30, 40. And we know that there are people out there that are making an upwards of $1 million or $2 million or more dollars a month. But in every case, it's a reflection of some belief that we're holding within us. When we just identify that ceiling or that belief, our life starts to become clearer. We understand why we are where we are. Very, very important. Because that belief, if we can shift it, we can shift how much money we allow or begin to resonate with. Super, super important. The next thing that you want to do is you want to write down 5 beliefs that you think are tied directly to your childhood. So you have these conscious beliefs about money. Money doesn't grow on trees. I have to work really, really hard and all of that. But now we want to go deeper. And this is really important because oftentimes when we discover the true root of the false belief or the negative belief or the limiting belief, oftentimes the logical mind goes, oh, that's what we were doing wrong. That's where all that pain was coming from. It actually flips the pain versus pleasure principle on its head. Because you can teach yourself, it's a brain hack, it's a mind hack, it's a consciousness hack, it's a wealth hack. You can actually teach yourself to associate pain with assuming that the only way to make money or to experience next level wealth is to work hard. When you start to, from a metacognitive perspective, start to associate consciously pain with these false beliefs around money, once you uncover the root cause of the trauma around money, your logical brain, oftentimes, because you're activating the left side of the brain now and not solely operating from the right side of the brain, which is mostly emotional, which is tied to the past. So doing this metacognitive work from a higher state of consciousness, you're accessing the blocks in the emotional brain. You're giving the left side of your brain, the more logical side of your brain, an opportunity to become activated. So the next step of this journey would be to identify 5 childhood beliefs that you believe you may have absorbed from your childhood. What were your parents' energy and frequency or attitude towards money? Were you shamed for wanting money? Did you hear things like, how dare you want this? Life is so hard. I can't believe things cost so much. We can't afford that. Be objective. Were the impressions and the conditions, because they do become all part of your download? All children are in a theta brainwave state up until the age of 7 or 8. That's important to know because that's when you are being programmed for wealth or programmed for not achieving wealth, or you were being programmed to associate hard work or it not being possible for you to get to next level wealth without a lot of sacrifice and hard work. That's where all of the conditioning comes from. If you grew up in poverty, then you have some anxiety around money. You have some insecurity around money. If you grew up with a single mom or a single dad, you might feel guilty for wanting. Think about the types of things that you heard your parents say about money. What were you conditioned to believe about your worth? Was it okay for you to relax? Or were you given the impression that you had to keep moving and keep achieving to the point where nothing felt enough? You see, if you never feel enough, you can't call money in because think about it. If you had enough, you'd feel enough. If you felt satisfied with wealth, you'd feel like, I have enough. It's all good. So don't misunderstand the power of being rushed has on your ability to be calm enough to let money come in. You want to start thinking in these terms. And once you have these three pieces of the puzzle, there's so many other exercises that we could go through. But in the 10 minutes that I've been offered, thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. I really wanted to give people an opportunity to see this process where you define your emotions and your body's responses to money. Number two, write down your beliefs about money and next level wealth. And number three, make a connection to your past and see if that helps you. I would like to leave everybody with one mantra, if that's okay. I now open my heart, my mind, and my nervous system to the flow of wealth. I release every old code that equated abundance with fear, loss, or danger. My body is calm, my breath is steady, and my system learns that receiving is safe. Infinite intelligence supplies me in perfect ways, and money comes easily, naturally, and consistently. I am aligned, receptive, and worthy. I welcome wealth as a friend, and I allow it to stay. So it is, so it is, so it is.
Lisa, thank you so, so much for being here with us today and for that beautiful exercise and the beautiful free gift. And I really believe that if people engage with this, then they can turn around their wealth experience. So thank you.
100%. It's neuroscience.